Hi guys, welcome back to the third installment of Life After Maceration series that I have started, where I delve into what the fragrances or what new fragrances that I have acquired within the past 2 to 3 months, or even less, how they have developed, how they have macerated, how they have changed, in the course of the period. Fortunately, I can confidently say that with the exception of 2 fragrances, the 10 that I have to share today were very good fragrances to begin with. They were not bad at all. They were not rough or scratchy or screechy, except those 2, and I'll discuss it later. I will start off with the fragrance which has stayed the longest among the 10 fragrances I'm sharing today, and this is Faka Exrate by Lattafa. This I loved from day one. From day one, it was not like bad at all. It was not screechy, it was not scratchy. I was confident about how much I love this fragrance. It's been confirmed to be a dupe of Paco Rabanne's 1 million parfum. The funny thing about this fragrance is that I went to the shop, the perfume shop, to test Paco Rabanne's 1 million parfum, compare it to this one, and at that point it didn't smell alike to me at all. However, after about 3 months, I'm beginning to get that tuberose. I didn't get that tuberose at all. I'm now getting that tuberose, which is apparent, in the Paco Rabanne's 1 million parfum. I get it now. It is so strong in it, and it's so beautiful. It has this DNA that I have always associated with men, and I don't see women, wearing this. I love this one in general, but most especially on men. It is beautiful. It is quite, sweet, quite vanillic. That tuberose is apparent in it, and it is beautiful. It has gotten more beautiful after maceration, and I will highly recommend Faka Exrate by Lattafa. The next fragrance I have here is Reena by Alhambra. This I loved from day one. It was not rough, it was not squishy, it was not, it was not like anything offensive. It was very smooth from the beginning. One of the major differences I have, realized in the course of 3 months or just a little over 3 months that this one has been in my collection is that it has become much more citrusy. I get much more of that bergamot, that mandarin orange, I get that nuance much more than I get in Ansam Gold, for example. To me, it is not one of those fragrances that require a lot of time. Within a week or two, it just develops beautifully, and you can use it. It gives you the complement. It has become much more stronger, although I feel Ansam Gold, is a little stronger when it comes to the performance and the projection. Nonetheless, I prefer this over Ansam Gold just because of that bright mandarin orange citrusy nuance, coupled with that creamy, sexy marshmallow, vibes that this one has. It's amazing. So this is Reena by Alhambra. The elephant in the room for me is Max's Great by Zaya. I do not like this fragrance at all. Maybe it's just the scent profile that is not doing it for me. As a fragrance, I do not like it. It's been about a month, I think almost a month in my collection. I still get that sort of, raid back spray. I still get it. I'm not getting any of those sexy, cozy, max therapy. I don't get any of those yet. So when I did a dedicated video for this fragrance, and I referred to it as something that goes along the back spray and didn't like it, Ace Vindicta, who is also a YouTuber, commented and said I should just give it 1 year. And I'm like, 1 whole year for a fragrance to macerate? I don't think I have the patience. However, I'm going to give it a try. That is going to be, sort of a challenge for me. I'm not going to give it away. He said I should wait on it for 1 year, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to dedicate a whole year to it. If I'm still on YouTube, I'll come back and update my audience. So this is Zaya Max's Great. It is still not great. It is still not great. It's still very screechy, very back spray, very insecticide, very raid-like to me. Right now, I'm just waiting on it for 1 whole year. The next fragrance I have here is Lattafa's Netti. And for this, I guess for I cheated on so many levels because I had sampled this severally, and most of the time when you go to shops and you test it, you're testing fragrances which have, been open for like months or weeks. So they have already macerated, and you're getting the real deal. So I sort of knew what I was getting myself into when it comes to Netti. This is a very beautiful, spicy, green vanilla, fragrance. And I love this one. This one doesn't require much time for maceration. It is beautiful, or it was beautiful from day one. I love it then. I love it now. It is not screechy. It is not scratchy. It is not like heavily dense. It is very spicy. If you're not into spicy fragrances, you might not be able to appreciate this one. However, from what I understand, a lot of people, seem to love this one. Although people who might not necessarily gravitate towards like, spicy fragrances sort of, tend to love this one. It is very smooth. After about a month in my collection, it has, smoothing out beautifully. It wasn't bad to begin with at all. It doesn't need anything more. It is perfect as it is from day one. It is only getting much more potent after maceration. So this is Netti by Lattafa, and I love this one. Caid Alpha Sun is a fragrance that I slept on for the most part. I had always sampled it. Like anytime I go into my friend's shop, it was always there, and I will always smell it. I will always smell it. I never thought of, picking it up. For whatever reason, I have no idea until about a month ago when I guess, was like about a month and a half ago, I guess said, what, it's just time for me to pick Caid Alpha Sun. This one was a little rough, at the beginning. Anytime I sampled, I was always getting the better part of it because it had macerated in my friend's shop. But when I got this bottle, it was a little rough to begin with. There was something about this fragrance at the beginning that was a bit, screechy. It wasn't like totally blended well. I had to get some getting used to, let it sit for a while. After about 2 to 3 weeks, that was when I began appreciating this fragrance. It is very spicy. That's charred pineapple, very delicious, very jammy, like a very overripe pineapple, which is charred or grilled. It is very delicious. It gives off this very gourmand, beautiful unisex fragrance, although to me it is just a tad bit masculine. But I mean, you can always layer this as a woman with other fragrances and just make everything that you wear beautiful. It is excellent on its own as well as layering. It is very mouth-watering, and this one requires just a little time for you to appreciate it better. So give it about a month. After about a month, you begin to really appreciate Caid Alpha Sun. The next fragrance I have here is Coutreuse Blend by Lattafa. This is also one of the fragrances I slept on for a very long time. Why? I have no idea. This is beautiful. This is very beautiful. From the very start, it was beautiful. Now I begin to get that very ripe pineapple. It also has this very ripe pineapple and an overall fruity, nuance. It's been compared to Byredo's pulp. I have no idea how that one smells, but this one has been compared to pulp and other fragrances. This is amazing. It is very affordable. It was not bad at all to begin with, but after about a month in my collection, that pineapple is getting much more sweeter. It's a very sweet pineapple, like very ripe. It gives me that very ripe pineapple, and I get something spicy to it. It also gives me a bit of honey. It reminds me of Kim Kardashian's honey fragrance or pure honey fragrance, boxed with a lot of ripe pineapple. That is what this one predominantly gives me. It is very beautiful, very spicy. It was not rough to begin with. It has smoothing out beautifully. It's become much more potent. I get about 6-7 at least hours out of it when I wear it. It is beautiful. The pineapple is getting much more sweeter. It's a very mouth-watering, very ripe. Like the pineapple here is very ripe. When you first open this one up, you might not get that pineapple right away, but just give it some few days. It didn't take much more or a lot of time for it to develop. After about a week, I could fully appreciate that ripe or overripe pineapple with the other fruity, spicy, accords in this one. And this is beautiful. It's been macerating beautifully. I think I'll just wait on it. I don't need to even wait on it. It's getting much more sweeter, much more denser, much more resonant, much more thicker. That is what this one is doing. But the pineapple here is really standing out right now. The next fragrance I have here is a fragrance which gave me everything from the first week. Like within the first 3 days, I could get every single thing. The creme brulee, the pineapple, the vanilla, the what else does it have? Like everything that this one indicates that it has. I got it within the first 3 days. Even on the first day, I could get a pineapple. I could get that creamy vanilla creme brulee. It gives me that sort of very romantic, on a date sort of feel. To me, it's much more romantic than sexy, if it makes any sense. It's much more romantic, Romantic is much more demure, much more softer, while sexy to me is like out there in your face, and this is what this one gives me. It was smooth from the beginning. It's only getting better. The potency is increasing, longevity is increasing. I'm getting that spicy turmeric and pink pepper, you know, the more. That pepper is getting much more pronounced. The turmeric I'm also getting, but it's the pineapple and the brulee that I'm getting the most. It's quite unique and it's a very good fragrance from the very beginning. So this is Lattafa's Anna and Glory. The next fragrance I have here is what I normally refer to as my Yara of choice, and this is Hayti Rose by Fragrance World. This is in the veins of the Yara, you know, like Yara is a dupe of Yara. I mean, Yara has a dupe, and this is one of those dupes. And this I love from day one. If you have watched my full review on this one, which I will link in the description, you perfectly understand where I'm coming from. This is a much more fruitier grapefruit, bay leaf. You know, get that bay leaf, and that's white chocolate. It has some white chocolate, you know, nuance in this one, and I totally get it. Yara didn't really give it to me from the beginning. This one does it for me. From the very first spray I sprayed it, I could get that bay leaf, I could get that creaminess, but it's not as creamy as Yara, for example. I could get that, you know, it's not as also tropical, it's not tropical as Yara, but when you spray it, you get that general, you know, nuance of Yara. However, this one is like much more fruitier. I get the bay leaf, the chocolate, which I feel is like white chocolate, you know, it's not like it's not bitter chocolate, it's like very creamy white chocolate. That is what I get in this one. And then that grapefruit, it is much more fruitier. I got every single thing from day one. After maceration, it has not really changed much from the original spray, you know, or when I originally sprayed it. It gave me within 3 days what Yara gave me in 8 to 9 months. That is basically what this one did. It is not very potent, it is not very room filling. However, if you want something cozy, something, you know, quite sultry, quite simple, this is going to do it for you. It is very smooth. It hasn't changed much, but this one is very good. And this one is Hayti Rose by Fragrance World. And the last one I have here is Fledtica by Fledtica. This is so womanly, so calming, so tranquil. It was a bit too musky from the beginning. When I initially got this one, the first spray was like a bit musky or too much musky. But I guess let it, you know, I sprayed about 10 or 20 out and then just let it sit for about 3 days, and then I could appreciate this one much better. It is so demure, so gentle, so beautiful. It is what I call tranquility at its peak. This is so amazing. If you are into simple, clean girl fragrances, this is going to do it for you. Initial spray was a little overly too musky for me. However, it gets better. It gets really better. The first week I got this one, I was trying to see if the max would, you know, smoothing out. The max was not like perfect. It was a bit rough. The max was not perfect, but it is smoothing out beautifully. It's been compared to Ex Nihilo's Fleur Narcotique, which I love. You know, that I love that fragrance. It gives me that sort of very womanly, motherly, nurturing, motherly, you know, vibes, and that is what I get in this one. This is macerating beautifully. I think it needs just a little more time. I think if I leave it for about 1 or 2 more months, it's going to be super smooth, you know, super smoothing out. I love that sort of, you know, water blossom or water lilies that it has. It gives it a very clean, crisp, aquatic, you know, spring vibes, and I love this one. It also has a very prominent peach note and some very lovely tea notes. It might not be for everyone, but just wait it out. If you want the best out of this fragrance, you need to wait it out for about a month at least, you know, about a month at least. Then you begin to appreciate this one the more. That is all I have for you today, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.